Welcome to Speakernomics, the official podcast of the National Speakers Association, created and hosted by speakers for speakers. As we count down to the new year, we're celebrating our top 10 episodes of 2025, packed with powerful insights to help you become a better speaker and build a better business. Before we dive in, here's a quick announcement. Speakernomics is getting a glow up. Launching in January 2026, we're coming back with a fresh format, dynamic new hosts, and a stellar lineup of subject matter experts. Click the link below to subscribe and download wherever you listen to podcasts. The stage is set. Let's tune in. Our number 3 top episode celebrates a compilation episode and building your brand as a speaker, social media tactics for more bookings.
Now to all my speaking friends, what are you doing on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and dare I say it, TikTok? Are you demonstrating your thought leadership, showing yourself speaking on stages, sharing stories about your stories, praising others, promoting a new keynote? And where should you post it? What kind of content? How often? So how are you being social on social media? The real question is then, what is great social media for a speaker? Let's dive in then with the perspectives of speakers, coaches, agents, meeting planners, booking agents, and bureaus, and hopefully some of their insights will help you take a new look on what it takes to have better social media for your speaking business. And let me remind you too that if you're not following their voices on the audio version, then make sure to check out NSA's YouTube channel to watch the video version of the show there. The experts we're showcasing today, all 11 of these social media butterflies in order of appearance include digital marketer, speaker, and author of Visual Social Marketing for Dummies, CSP Krista Naher. The digital marketing superstar who wrote the book on TikTok advertising, speaker Dennis Shue. The sales hunter and CSP, speaker Mark Hunter. Well, his social media will even give you a jolt, speaker Larry Long Jr. CSP, author of Authentically Social, consultant and speaker Corey Perlman. President and co-founder of speaker agency Campus Speak, David Stolman. Booking agent and owner of Prather Marketing Services, Nona Prather. C Agency speaker manager and author of Become a Bookable Speaker, Krista Haberstock. And we close out with 3 CSPs and Hall of Fame speakers, Jeff Savilico, Simon T. Bailey, and Ross Bernstein. And before we jump in, make sure to go to speakernomics.com. That's where you can find the tips, insights, and knowledge to help you become a better speaker, build a better business, and get paid to speak. Now, let's learn from some special people, and then I'll see you on the other side with some takeaways. Krista, as someone who has written a lot of books, including a For Dummies book on social media, to you, what is it that you see that makes great social media for a speaker?
I think the key these days is to choose one channel and knock it out of the park, right? It sounds like a simple idea, but you feel all this pressure, you have to be everywhere. And I get it. Like sometimes I'm creating that pressure when I talk about, oh my gosh, imagine what you could do on TikTok, right? But here's the thing. All of these channels are a million times more competitive than they were 5 or 10 years ago. There's more content, there's better content, and it's harder to stand out and earn attention than it has ever been. And if you're just trying to post something on a calendar cycle and you're not really invested in the platform, you will not break through the noise and get results. Think about Instagram, right? You have these Instagram influencers. They build their whole career on one channel, first of all. What do they sleep over? Do you think they're up at night being like, ooh, I should really be on LinkedIn too? No. They're like, how do I do Instagram better? That's how you unlock growth, right? And this is true not with social only, all your digital marketing. When I look at the companies that are truly growing, or the personal brands or the speakers that are really growing a presence, they work out 1 or 2 things and they knock them the heck out of the park. And that's really the secret to success, is do fewer things exceptionally well. And that's how you're going to grow your business in a competitive, cluttered environment that we live in now.
For you as a CSP, what's your number 1 channel? And then what's your number 2 channel? Just one you like that you maybe don't necessarily only think of from a business only standpoint, like a LinkedIn.
Yeah. So, I mean, LinkedIn is my number one channel, no question about it. Even, I started my business almost 20 years ago now, and LinkedIn was the first channel where I was consistently getting clients. And it blew my mind how easy it was to get clients with, of course, a good message and consistency, right? It's a little harder now. It's more competitive, but still, what always surprises me is I can post something on LinkedIn and maybe it doesn't even get a lot of traction, but it makes a huge difference in people's minds, right? So I was just on a call with a big client in a big government organization, and the guy was like, "Hey, Krista, I really wanted to congratulate you on that award you won." He was talking about my CSP. Guy doesn't know what it is, doesn't actually care, but it grew my credibility with him, right? And that's the game of LinkedIn to some extent is it doesn't matter how many likes and engagements you get. People focus on all the wrong stuff. Likes and engagements are meaningless. There's no connection shown to be true between people engaging with a post and their propensity to do business with you. Those are not related ideas. Don't worry about likes so much. Worry about visibility and getting in front of people. And LinkedIn is still like the channel to do that. So I would say for that reason, LinkedIn is my favorite channel. If I had to choose a second, I would go with either TikTok or Instagram Reels. But these short vertical videos, I mean, the reach you can get is just mind boggling. And I think it's hard to convert that into value, which is why you have to be careful. You can be really popular and never get business from it, right? So you've got to be careful that you're on point there. But I think the viral nature of these platforms is super exciting and fun for me. Even on a personal level, like sometimes I'll post something totally stupid and I get, tens of thousands of views. So I think it can be a lot of fun to see that growth and visibility there.
Dennis, in your opinion, what is it that makes great social media for a professional speaker?
Shark, for a professional speaker, the best social media is what other people have to say about yourself. A lot of speakers, it's about them and where they've spoken, how much money they've made, the size of the audiences, the speaker reel, all those are fantastic. But it's the empathy of other people's stories, reflecting what they say about you. And it's just a way better look when you have lots of other associations, lots of other conferences talking about you, people's lives that have changed. And the organizers, hire you because of the impact that you're able to make, not because of how important and how famous you are. So I find it so much easier too for me because I don't like to talk about myself. And it's so much easier when other people are sharing their stories and I can share that on a podcast and talk so well about other people and how their lives have changed.
Mark, what do you think makes the greatest social media for a professional speaker?
Yeah, first of all, stay in your lane. It's about delivering value, delivering content. It's not about you. It is not about you. I am on social media every day. Every day we post, but I don't post on everything. LinkedIn is my go-to. See, here's the whole thing. I got to go where my audience is. My audience is on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is what we own. Now, because a lot of it's video, that means it also goes to YouTube. And YouTube is ubiquitous to any speaker. So YouTube, you got to build YouTube. But for me, it's LinkedIn. And I've been out there almost every day for probably about 15 years. Doesn't take as much time as you think. Because again, we create this content in bulk and we release it. But then I also make sure that when I post it, people make a comment on it. I've got to be genuine. I got to be authentic. I got to respond to it. I got to engage. But over the years, LinkedIn has created a tremendous amount of business for me. And it's like it's not TikTok. It's not Instagram. It's not Snapchat. No, my audience, LinkedIn.
Larry Long Jr., what, in your opinion, makes great social media for a speaker?
Oh, goodness. Thank you so much for asking, Shark. And you know that LinkedIn is my jam. And there's a lot of things I speak about this, which is amazing. So as speakers, I would say video. People want to see you speak. Are you leveraging video, both in your posts as well as in your one-to-one conversations, which leads to the next point, the connection. Are you making true, authentic relationships and connections? People think that it's all about going viral. No, we're in a B2B world, not business, but belly to belly. You've got to get connected to those folks that you want to engage with, which leads to getting connected. Do you care? People can smell BS from a mile away. If you don't really care and all you're trying to do is just slang some speaking, people are going to know it, which leads into my next point, authenticity. Are you being your true, authentic, genuine self? I hate to break it to you, but you can't be anyone else. Everyone else is speaking. You gotta be yourself. So we'll say that it's authenticity for the win. Also for the win is that consistency. I can't go to the gym. I love those shades, Shark. Oh, absolutely. Love them, love them, love them. I can't go to the gym one time and expect I'm going to get six-pack abs. I've got to do it consistently, and I got to make sure I'm eating right. Now, in the words of the great Bob Burg, are you a go-giver? Or are you a me monster where all you want is me, 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 me? What I found is the more that I give, the more that I serve with no expectation in return, it's absolutely amazing how it comes back, which also leads back coming back for referrals. I think we've all been there before. Hey, Larry, why should we hire you? We can hire so many other folks out there. Well, hey, don't take my word for it. I work for the company. It's me, myself, and I. But look at the 300 plus recommendations that I have on my LinkedIn. What I would encourage speakers is to ask for those recommendations. When you get done speaking, ask for recommendations of support, which will help you in building your brand, in building who you are as a speaker. Those referrals, that third party proof, that social proof is so vital and so important. I would also, and this comes from Richard Bliss, in addition to your own thought leadership, make sure you're getting into others' conversations. Then you can tap into their networks as well. You can now be seen as relevant in different industries that you might not even be a part of. So, hold up. I'm sorry, Shark. Someone's knocking at my door. Ooh. That's opportunity knocking at my door and knocking at your door as well. Leveraging social media and specifically LinkedIn to level up your speaking.
Corey, what is it that you see works as great social media for a speaker today?
Yeah, I appreciate that question, Kenneth. And as you and I were saying before we hit record, social media is frustrating for speakers. The older we get, the more frustrating it seems to become. But the problem is it's essential for us in our business, I feel like. And so we have speakers that we do the social media marketing for. So I'm going to share a little bit of what they are seeing work for them and as well as for me. First of all, the platforms. The ones that seem to be working the most for us are LinkedIn and Instagram. LinkedIn is the channel for people that are making buying decisions for events as well as bureaus. I say that meeting professionals, bureau representatives, C-level executives, all those folks that are making decisions around meetings are there. On Instagram, I would say that our attendees tend to live there more, and some of the younger meeting planners tend to be there as well. So, and then of course, Facebook to some degree as well. A lot of people are leaving Facebook, but they're migrating to Instagram, and of course, Meta owns it all. So it's easy for Instagram, obviously, to transfer over to Facebook quite easily. So the two platforms would be Instagram and LinkedIn. And then in terms of the type of content that we're posting, we look at it as buckets or categories of content. And that is the busy speaker begets speaking. So we need to show people, meeting planners, bureaus, whomever, that this is not our first rodeo. So we need to let them know that we're doing this, we're busy, and you better get to us quickly or you're going to miss out. So that looks like behind the scenes. That looks like us on airplanes. That looks like keynote, pictures, meeting planner interviews, whatever. So it looks like we have a very active and lively speaking business. That's one category. Another category is value add. We need to be the industry experts. So we are constantly making sure that we are adding value and showing that we are the experts in our field. Another one is, it's not us telling everybody how great we are. We need to make sure that other people are sharing our value. So what are other people saying about us, specifically other meeting planners, potentially other bureau representatives, other people who obviously were in our audiences. So that's another bucket, testimonials. And then a fourth bucket might be just kind of general, kind of things about you, other layers of the onion, if you will, some fun things, some different parts of you. It doesn't have to get super personal, but it's important for people who are thinking about working with you to make sure that they like you. So there's that aspect. I wrote a book called Authentically Social. So there's that aspect of making sure that you bring some of the personalization into your social media as well.
David, from an agency point of view, especially somebody that works heavily in the collegiate educational market, what do you think makes the best social media for a speaker?
When I'm looking at social media and talking with speakers, any marketing goes back to that same equation I know you say as well. It's, wiser people than us came up with it. I help X with Y so they can Z. It always starts with Z. So the channel that you are using matches Z. If you're looking to talk to bankers, they might not be on TikTok and they might not be sucked into that algorithm of looking at dances, but they might be looking at content on LinkedIn while they're zoning out and boarding meetings. So how do you have content first and foremost that connects with the audience, that particular audience? And I think for speakers on social media, just like any other channel, it's finding the differentiation between the three audiences that matter. Every speech I know has always had, almost all of them in this many years of working in the field, have had chairs. And so you think about the chair, there's the butt sitting in it. There's the person that put the chair in place and that arranged the event. And then there's the person that paid for that chair to be there. And so when you're speaking to each of these audiences, as to the audience member that's going to hear you and that wants you to be talking to them, the person that's arranging that room, and the person that's writing the check for you to be there, what are the messages they need to hear to understand how you will impact that audience? And in higher education and in the education sector, understanding the difference between the wants and needs of each of those audience members, and then speaking to those wants and needs, particularly. Social media is a personable way. It's more personable than print or even video, where there's an ongoing dialogue, at least that the audience feels. And so engaging in that dialogue to that specific person so that they can understand one particular piece of you or your message, it's a laser, it's not buckshot.
Known as a booking agent, what makes great social media for a speaker?
I will say the number one mistake that I see some speakers make when they come to me and they're looking for help is their social media. All of their marketing materials are all about themselves and what I'm a great speaker, I'm amazing, you need to bring me in. But really what your social media, all of your marketing materials, it needs to be geared toward the meeting professional. Like it needs to be talking to that decision maker that is going to bring the speaker in, and it needs to tell them, what problems are you solving? What is the audience going to take away and learn? What steps, tips, and tricks are they going to get from that? And your social media post and engagement needs to be with those decision makers, not really bragging about where you've spoken and what you've done, but actually engaging in what they do in their industry and why it would, benefit them to bring you in, because you can help them with their goals, whatever their goals are, whatever their problems are in their industry they're looking for. That's what you need to explain to them that you're doing. It's not all about, I'm an amazing speaker. Look at me. Look where I'm at. Look what I'm doing. Look what these places I'm traveling to. No, it really needs to be geared towards the industry a lot more than anything. So that's the number one thing is speakers think it's all about them and how amazing they are. That's really not what they're looking for when they're looking for speakers. They're looking for someone who fits their industry to help them figure out what they need help with the best, and not just entertain them for an hour, but also be able to implement after you get off the stage for the entire next year to hold them over for their next annual event. What tips and tricks are you going to provide to them to help them throughout the year as well?
As a true resource.
Yes, exactly.
Krista, in your opinion, what makes great social media for a speaker, especially one that wants to get booked because of a lot of the social media they put out to the world?
Well, let me just speak to LinkedIn a little bit because that's where I live now and really pouring into it and pouring into my speakers about it. So the two most important things on LinkedIn are consistency and staying on brand. So know your audience, provide value within the context of your brand, and do it at the same time 3 times a week. My goal this year is to post 300 times. And so I'm going to be posting pretty much every work day and then some, and maybe twice a day if I'm doing a repost, but it's all value to speakers because that's my audience. And I'm also expanding, of course, I do speak to event planners, but it's really important, whatever a speaker is doing, to be, that old phrase, a thought leader in their niche. So they need to build a platform of credibility wherever they are. And gosh, do we have to say, don't do anything surprise, around the election, I had to unfollow so many people. And it was because I couldn't unsee them through the lens of what they had posted. And it wasn't even inflammatory necessarily. It was like, well, we either agree or we disagree. And I don't want to know either way. That's not what we're on there to do. We're there to build our brand. And if your brand is politics, I represent a speaker who is one of the top immigration minds, authors out there. So he posts about immigration a lot. Now that's on brand for him, right? Like he had to talk about the election. He had to talk about those things. But for most people, it's an opinion and it's a hill that they're willing to die on, but they're going to take their brand up that hill and kill it too if they do that. So don't post about anything unless it's on your brand and make sure you're consistent. So that's my advice to all speakers and all people wanting to build their brand.
Well, as far as the types of material and media that they put out, and let's just say that it is that 3 times a week, when you loosely think through that, how much of that do you think is a comment or a picture versus a video of you speaking somewhere or so on and so forth? I mean, obviously there's hundreds of examples, but.
Yeah, there's, this year feels very different in that what people need to be posting is established people, and I mean speakers. What speakers need to be posting is them at and referencing to as many events as possible. There's and I think that, and I'm not going to even say I know that the marketplace has been increasingly increasing in fear. Trying to say it in the positive way, reduced trust, so they've got now we've got, what do you call it? Deep fakes. We've got tons of AI, and AI is our friend, people. It is good. It is good. It is good. But used in the right way, of course, right? It's a very powerful tool, but it just breeds a lot of distrust because it, especially dare I say the media, get called out for some things, red-handed, lawsuits even. So there's a growing distrust among buyers and planners of, some of the catfishing that's going on, these quick start speaker in a box stuff that's going on. You can, with technology the way it is and AI, you could launch a pretty compelling speaking brand in a week. You would go from saying you're a speaker to making yourself look like you've been a speaker for a while very quickly. And so they want to see, the people out there that are looking for speakers, they want to see lots and lots of proof. They need social proof. And the more you can post about events that you're at, going to events, make it about the client. Careful tagging the client name because that's a pretty nice lead gen for other people out there. And that client doesn't need to be bombarded by hungry speakers. So I would just, probably put the company name. And I would just make it all about your experience with the client, what you are excited to share, maybe some fun experiences, but I really think that it's going to boil down to you authentically engaging in service to the client.
Jeff, what makes great social media for a speaker?
A lot there. I would say if I had to boil it down to a few things, authenticity for sure, being who you are. And number two is consistency. I feel like a lot of times people say like, I don't have anything to post. That's just because they don't think of something immediately that's on their mind. But if they were to actually kind of plan out their week, their month, they would realize, I talk about before, during, after. You can talk about things you're doing, that you've already done, talk about things you're currently doing, talk about things that are in the future. I always fall back on gratitude and sharing other people's wins. There's always something to talk about if you're building up your peers, if you're writing a review of a friend's book, or if you're saying, wow, I just saw so-and-so speak. And I mean, I knew she was good because of reputation, but unbelievable. Like, these are the top 3 things I took away. Or talking about how wonderful an experience it was to work with a bureau or a production company or an end client. So also, I mean, just kind of contributing to the general like zeitgeist, right, so to speak. I mean, there's always something to talk about, to write about, to share an opinion, a perspective. And I think when you don't plan it ahead of time, we're also busy with life. It's very easy to just say, oh, shoot, I haven't posted anything in like 3 weeks. So I do really think that authenticity, that planning ahead of time, that consistency, and really treating it as an important part of your business. I don't believe that posting is marketing. A lot of people be like, oh, I did my marketing the day. Like, I made my post. I don't think that's enough, but I do think it's an important piece of that top of mind awareness. I see it all the time with my friends, and some of my friends are really awesome with social media. And some of them might not be as great with social media, but I know that they're working. And I look and I see, man, this person is maximizing their on-stage experiences so much more, so much better than another person. It's almost unfair, because you're good at it. You can really amplify what you're currently doing to just kind of get more, like, squeeze more juice from it, so to speak. And I think there's some people who are really masterful at that. And I've tried to learn and model myself after those people.
Well, it's a great reminder to people like me that aren't on social enough. There's always something to talk about if you're a speaker. There better be, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, and I think that idea of like praising someone else, that's kind of my default mode. If I'm even at an event and like, I don't really know what to talk about, be thankful. Talk about, hey, wow, isn't this like, what a beautiful venue, what a baller. Let's thank everybody who went into making this room so stunning. Hey, let's thank the tech crew. Let's thank all the event people behind the scenes. They've been working on this event for years. Hey, wasn't that offsite last night incredible? Like, you could always kind of put the spotlight on someone else and elevate them. It's always a good thing to do. It's never a bad idea to recognize others and to show them some love. And so you can do that again with your colleagues, with your clients, with brands that you support. There's always something to talk about if you think about it and plan it ahead of time, especially.
Simon, in your opinion, what makes great social media for a speaker?
Creating social hope in a world that is filled with discouragement, disillusionment, disenchantment. Anybody that shows up on social, are you providing social hope? I heard someone say that hope stands for helping one person every day. So does your post help someone along life's journey in business and just whatever they're dealing with at that time?
So, Ross, what, in your opinion, makes great social media for a speaker? I see a lot of your posts, and a lot of other speakers follow and like everything you do and post.
I think a great post starts with a great picture. I think a picture is the first key to drawing someone in. And then I think if there's a compelling little story, I use it differently. I use it to honor, acknowledge, and thank my clients. So I really never try and make it about me. I'm always just a tiny little picture, not like a big picture. But, and I think it's a mix. My social strategy, and I'm only on LinkedIn. It's a mix. There could be a few personal things, like a family thing or something cool that you want to acknowledge, but I really never make it like a humble brag. I try not to. I mean, if I'm in a cool place, I guess that's cool. And I celebrate the ride because I love travel and being in cool places, but it's really more about the event, the client, to create FOMO, to make my my clients feel like rock stars, to tag them, and to make people feel like if they weren't at that event, that they missed out on something.
That's smart.
So that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah. Let's do a quick recap then based on their very social advice. Number one, pick your platform and be consistent. Nearly everyone emphasized the importance of choosing one or two platforms, usually LinkedIn and either Instagram or YouTube, and going deep rather than trying to be everywhere. Several reminded us that consistency also builds credibility over time and keeps you top of mind. Number two, social proof beats self-promotion. Not making it all about you resonates with others. And while it's also there to showcase what you're doing, some used to emphasize the testimonials, referrals, and posts from others on their social. Speakers bragging about themselves? Well, it's quite simply not a good look. Speakers like Ross, for example, use social to honor their clients when they speak. Number three, add real value and be authentically you. It's not just what you post, but how it helps people and who we serve. Authenticity, connection, positivity, and usefulness matter most. Your authentically you content to decision makers, bookers, attendees, and buyers should align with your post and the value you bring. Friends, make sure to join us at speakernomics.com and let your voice be heard. I'm Kenneth Shark-Kinney, your host of the National Speakers Association's podcast, Speakernomics, and this has been another fantastic episode of the show. Thank you for the privilege of your time, and remember, Speakernomics is a podcast where you'll learn to speak, get paid, repeat.
Thank you for listening to Speakernomics, the official podcast of the National Speakers Association. Interested in taking your speaking career to the next level? If you'd like more information on becoming a member of the National Speakers Association, just click the link in the description below. And don't miss your chance to attend NSA's Thrive Conference in New Orleans this February 2026. It's the ultimate event to gain exclusive insights and practical skills from top industry leaders. That link is in the description too. We'll see you there.